Alrighty, game 1 versus SamE. What do we got going on here? So the draw is courtyard, villages. There's plenty. Snowy village, acting troop, fortress. Ducat plus buy, lurker, and remake and expand are all gains. Snowy village is plus buy 2. The thinning is remake. One notable interaction here is you can use Lurker to gain fortresses, where you trash the fortress and then it goes straight into your hand. So you don't even need to line up 2 Lurkers to get fortresses, so you can just lurk the fortresses straight to your hand. In fact, I think it's technically not even counting as gaining it. There's just a fortress that was in your trash and is in your hand now. But technically was never gained. So I don't know exactly what we're doing here, but I presume you want to get decent number of fortresses, get some courtyards for draw. You can probably remake fortresses into distant lands at some point to score. There's colonies in Platina, so you can build pretty big. We'll see how it goes. This is not an exceptionally good draw. Not that I'm sad about hitting 2, the 2s here are fine, but it means that remake is not going to line up with any of my estates this shuffle. In fact, my bottom deck. So, is rogue going to matter at all? Maybe, potentially. I mean, the attack certainly doesn't matter. If anything, the attack is probably friendly, because it's likely to trash their fortress and put it in their hand for them. But rogue does gain things from the trash, and that could potentially be relevant. Rogue's also 5, so it's easy to gain. You can remake fortresses straight into rogues, and then it can function as like a terminal lurker, like you lurk a. Actually, you can't do that with expand. You lurk something into the trash, like distant lands or something, and then gain it with rogue. Is a possible thing. The draw here is really limited, and I want to make sure I get a decent number of courtyards, because I mean each courtyard it says plus 3 cards on it, but it's only as much draw as moat rather than smithy, because you have to put a card back. So your hand size is pretty limited. You know, with 5 courtyards, you're getting up to maximum 10 cards in hand. It is not a lot. So here I'm considering either buying Star Chart, because it's just a generally useful event or project, versus just buying another courtyard on account of I want to make sure I get courtyards. I think I prefer the courtyard. Although Star Chart is definitely helpful. I don't really have a good sense of whether I'm ahead or not. I feel like we've done very similar things, all things considered. He's trashed 1 estate and is player 1, so I'm going to guess he still has a marginal lead. Silver, interesting. I didn't think you'd want a silver at any point in this game. Like if you want economy at some point, you can just like lurker gain expands that can then gain you golds directly off of expanding fortress and then become platina or whatever. Just considering whether trashing fortress makes sense. I don't think so. Like often that'll be a thing you'd want to do to get 5s early, but here the 5s aren't actually exceptionally important or anything. Take star chart now. Oh, do I not get to see my 4 cards in hand before choosing? I'm pretty sure this is one of the things where the rules have gone back and forth over time. Like there was one rule and it changed. I think I don't know. At some point you were allowed to see those cards before making a decision, but this is not that point. I can figure them out though. I've trashed 2 coppers, and that's it. So down there I have an estate. I have 2 coppers, and I have a courtyard. So I'm going to put a fortress on top. That's not a great draw for him. So maybe this is my chance to catch up. I do want to make sure I do not get behind on... That was a dumb order. That order didn't make it's not gonna matter much, but it didn't make any sense. I could have just put the fortress on top instead of putting something else on top and then drawing it. So I'd still have the fortress ready to go for next turn. There's no good reason to do it the way I did it. But I don't think it should matter because I have lurkers down there anyway that'll give me fortresses. It's not like I had a risk of drawing things dead. Just more snowy villages. Yeah. I think the concern here is if he's able to get 2 courtyards this turn, which he might, that'll put me behind on draw. Because again, draw is limited, courtyard's the only draw. There's plenty of villages to go around, but draw will be a limiting factor. And so I'd really like to make sure I don't lose the courtyard split, if at all possible. Oh, you know the other thing that's gonna matter? We're probably not even gonna get to like the in-game stuff, because fortresses are gonna run out, courtyards are gonna run out, and then Seize the Day is there, and that makes piling up very easy. Lurker as well is great at piling things out. And so I expect what's going to happen here is as soon as courtyards and fortresses run, it's just going to be like a mad dash to get points because the threat of buying Seize the Day, taking 2 turns in a row, and emptying lurkers is going to be immense. So that might even mean remaking fortress into duchy rather than distant lands, just for the more immediate points. I don't think this is a kingdom you can play for the long term in. Unfortunately, he is drawing his deck, which does not bode well for me. I'm not sure he can safely take 2 more courtyards, in fact. I think the risk that I pile out if he does that is very high. I don't know exactly how high, but I think it's pretty high. Like if I were SamE and I weren't concerned about piles, I would just click 2 courtyards in a heartbeat. But I think that my deck might be able to do courtyard, 2 fortresses, 6 lurkers. Given 2 turns, of course, because it's Seize the Day. I'm not sure about that, but I'd at least have to think about it. So like I gain 2 fortresses this turn, and then I buy Seize the Day. That still wouldn't be trivial. Maybe he can't afford to take 2 courtyards. I'm not sure I can do that, even with 2 turns to do it. That might be what he's counting out right now, is maybe he's trying to figure out whether, if he just takes 2 courtyards, I can pile out. Like, I have plenty of gains. I've got 2 lurkers, 2 snowy villages, remake and whatnot. But I have, like, no money in my deck at all. And so the gains have to come kind of exclusively from the lurkers. Okay, courtyard star chart. That's almost certainly safe enough, I would think. Let's put a courtyard on top. Now what do I do? What's down there? 2 coppers on a remake, I think. No, I've trashed another copper since then. What is down there? Copper remake. Fortress? No. Third courtyard. Okay. Let me think about this. I think what I would like to do ideally is to gain and play at least 1 distant lands this turn, so that at least I have a bit of a points buffer versus him piling out. I'm not sure if I can effectively do that. So if I lurk Fortress, play Fortress Snowy Snowy, then I have, yeah, I'm pretty sure that I can do that. In fact, I think I can play 2 of them. So I'm going to need, I sure hope I'm not wrong about that courtyard, but I'm pretty sure the last card's a courtyard. So I need to play my remake, and I need to gain 2 distant lands. I then need to play Snowy Village, so that's 1, 2. I need to play Courtyard, that's 3. Then I play Distant Lands twice, that's 5. I don't need to spend any villagers on that. Gain a distant lands, gain a distant lands. Top deck. Now, can I take 2 courtyards here? That's worrisome, because both distant lands and lurkers are quite low. Sticky situation. Maybe I just seize the day and get some more distant lands down. It would, I mean, it kind of sucks having to burn seize the day early and lose the pile out threat, but I'm not sure what else I'd do. Like, I want the courtyards. I really want the courtyards. I don't want to have only 3 courtyards to my name. But if I click 2 courtyards, I have a very serious concern that he just piles out and scores a few points and wins. That seems pretty doable. Yeah, I think I need to do seize the day. I don't love my position right now. I'm not even sure I can draw. Like, last turn I was drawing, but last turn I also got to lurk 2 fortresses, which I can't do this turn. Yeah, so there's all the draw. Those bottom cards are a lurker and 2 fortresses, I think. Play that. I can draw 1 card in to my discard pile. So I could gain and play a single distant lands here. Just not a lot. And then I could buy maybe 2 courtyards. I think lowering lurkers is better than not doing it, on account of, I think my goal here is probably going to be to rush down piles since I've got the points lead. think 5 villagers should be, or 5 actions should be enough for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or actually, do I need a 6th one? Do I want to play my Lurker? I think I do want to play my Lurker, which means I think I need 1 more villager. So now I'm going to gain that for points. And do I take a 2nd one? This is tricky. Like, I wouldn't mind gaining a duchy here if I knew I could draw my distant lands, but then I got a 50-50 shot of failing to draw it. The alternative is just thinning a copper, which might be worth doing. I think I might just do it that way. I'll take 1 courtyard. And let's just hope that he can't win. I really don't know what the probability is. I think that if he does not win this turn, I will very likely win on my turn. But he has this turn, plus presumably buying Seize the Day. And so it seems certainly within the realm of possibility that he might be able to like empty 5 distant lands and then take a courtyard. Yeah, he's going for it. We'll see if he can do it. My guess is he'll get there. I feel like with a whole Seize the Day turn, he should be able to get those distant lands in play. He needs to either play 4 of them or play 3 and like gain an estate. Yeah. So if he just does that same turn over again, where he gains 2 distant lands, plays 2 distant lands, that should be a pretty simple win, I would think. Because he can trash the last distant lands with a Lurker if he needs to. So I would expect here that he just buys Seize the Day and nothing else, and then he should be fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think this one can be chalked up mostly to being player 2, most likely. I mean, in a game that's only 8.5 turns, the advantage of having 1 extra turn is obviously very big. We both did the same thing, but he got to those key piles a little bit sooner, namely the courtyards. Yeah, so that's the win in hand. And he had a full province to spare. I don't think that there was a better thing for me to have done last turn, though. Like, I think if I just kept building, he was going to do that anyway, and then have an easier time piling out. GG.